Obviously good at it.
Hi, this is Becky Honkington.
There was a reason why it went down that road. All right. Now, about March or so of 2014, I was sitting around and I was looking at the computer and I was on iTunes and I saw her show featured on iTunes. They have those banners where they feature them, and I saw it going along the scroll. And I said, hey, there she is. And then I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we had a Carolla digital bug on the bottom corner of that thing or somewhere on the banner? Because we're a network and we're attempting to build a network. And if shows get up on the front page of iTunes, well, like the Nerdist or whatever else is out there.
That's it.
NPR.
Okay.
Whatever. ESPN,
Earwolf.
Grantland, whatever. So it'd be nice to have our little logo on the page, on the banner of her show, of all the shows, by the way. I never really thought about it until I sat around and watched it. Right. So I said to Matt Fondelier, like I do with everything, hey, let's see if we can get a little Adam Carolla digital logo on the bottom corner, wherever they put them, however they do it, the little bug they put on there. Let's do that. Let's do it for all the shows. But I want it on Alison's show because it's on the front page.
Just get make the little branding thing.
Yes. So that was about, I don't know how many emails went round and round and round, but I was sort of standing by Gary saying, well, just tell her we'll put the little bug, the branding logo at the bottom of her thing. And went around and around, but she basically wrote back and said she'd like it to be virtually invisible. She did not want it there, didn't know why it needed to be there. Wasn't there on other shows, wasn't there with other networks, and could it be basically invisible?
That was why she said, because other shows didn't have it, or it just wasn't a thing that was done?
I don't know, other than she wanted it to be virtually unreadable. And I took that as a sort of strange sign. Why she want to distance herself from my brand. It was feelings
Did you
hurt
ever ask
a
her?
little. No, I didn't. I knew what was going on because I said to, and I should have.
Yeah.
I said to Gary, why is it? What's going on here? Gary, fortunately, you got to talk.
Yes, sir.
She wanted that thing invisible. Is that correct?
We went around and around. We were trying to figure out size and placement, and it was pretty small by the time we settled on something we were all okay with.
Right, but small was not small enough for her.
Yes.
She wanted it. She literally said in the email, as I stood behind, I'm not throwing Gary under the bus. I was standing next to him. I like to be almost invisible.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right. Then I said, what's the problem? I thought this would be a no-brainer, but the other thing is why does she want to distance herself from the brand, from the program, from me?
Right. And it ended with you kind of guessing because you guys didn't have that conversation, obviously.
I said to Gary, can you put together any, and I sort of knew, I think our politics didn't match well, and she thought that maybe she would be losing some of her audience because of my politics, perhaps. So I said to Gary, is there a situation? Do you think there's a problem? Do you think she thinks there's a problem? Do you think, I'm speculating, do you think she thinks people aren't doing her show because my name is on the banner? And he said, yes, she has asked that before. If somebody said, I won't do your show, or I'm canceling, or I won't be a guest, is it because it's Adam's network? Is that the problem? And I realized that was an issue, sitting next to somebody who didn't want to be associated with my network. Now, keep in mind, there are many shows on this network. Dr. Drew, I do many shows. My wife does a show. I do not plug any other show than Alison's show.
Hey, man, sup?
Larry Miller.
Right.
Consistently.
Right.
Allison gets a plug. My wife's show doesn't get a plug. My car show doesn't get a plug. Ace on the House doesn't get a plug, although I think I just snuck one in.
Oh. What's it called again?
Ace on the House,
Wow.
everybody. It's good stuff.
It helps that Alison was in the studio.
Adam and Drew don't get one. Penn Jillette doesn't get one. Nobody gets one. Yes, and Alison is sitting here, and that's part of it. But
the savvy on her part is smart.
yes, I plugged her show on this network, but she did not want my logo on her show banner when it was on iTunes. Again, we're just talking about a scale, right? That was a couple of pebbles removed from the positive onto the other side.
I'm sure that podcast guest, not even podcast, probably TV guest stuff probably does happen. You don't agree with the network or the host or the producer or whoever it is, a personal thing gets in the way of someone being guest on your show. I imagine that happens.
It can happen, yes. The person, ironically, on the picture was Mark Garagos, who's my guest. She would
that was the
oftentimes use guests from this show on her show. That was completely fine with me. But that I would plug the show, that her guest would be from my show and my relationship, that she would be doing it in my studio, but fight vehemently against my logo, minuscule size logo on her show, was hurtful and somewhat insulting.
I can see that.
Okay. All right. So, now...
Alarming to learn now that you have feelings, but now we know, and then it's established.
Then we come to the fact that I talked to Mike Lynch. Mike Lynch is a guy I like very much. We write books together. I have another book coming out. And he just said sort of off the cuff, and he's on the payroll, Mike Lynch is. He lives in New England, or in the Boston area, but he is on the payroll. And I said, what's up? And he said, I stopped sending stories to Alison months ago. And I said, why? Because that's part of what I pay him to do. Find
He
stories.
did that previously?
Yes, find stories that feed me comedically, and give them to Alison. And he said, because she's never used one. So I stopped. And I thought, well, that's good for you, and maybe it's good for Alison, but I pay you to do this job, and you just quit because you got frustrated. You didn't quit the paycheck, but you quit sending stories to Alison because she'd never used
that
one.
aspect of the job.
Right. So I thought, well, that's probably not a good thing. And then I started thinking about other things. For instance, your book.
Sorry, before I get to that, well, let's definitely talk about my book. I have to ask what the audience is probably thinking, which is, did you ever talk to Alison about it, or did you ever mention, like, hey, what's up, Lynch is sending you news stories? You know,
I did not find that out until over the Christmas vacation.
Okay.
He never said anything to me.
Okay. So
I didn't know if the stories she chose were his or not, but I found out. Mike's not a kiss and teller or a complainer, but if you do bring something up to him, he did mention to me that some time ago he just got frustrated and stopped.
Okay.
I wasn't aware of it.
Gotcha. On to my book.
Your book. 3 or 4 times, maybe more, Alison would say, where did you meet Christy? Or how did you find out you had a brain tumor? And you'd say, chapter 2.
I did say that, yeah.
Or chapter 5.
Sort of jokingly to sort of like annoy her, but yes, I did. Yes. It's in chapter 2.
Well, I realized I don't think she read your book, at least for the first several months.
That strikes me as odd, because when I was on her show, Gary, she asked a lot of questions about the book, and obviously she had read parts of it, so either she skipped around or I don't know, but she at least was familiar with it.
I had never heard, it did not appear to me that she praised your book or that she was familiar with it, at least at the beginning.
Some of the questions, like how did you guys meet, or whatever that question was, sort of was a bit of a tell.
Right.
I guess.
I do not believe she read my book, or I do not believe we've ever discussed in any detail or depth my book on the air.
Not that I can remember.
Okay. Good or bad. I really went down and I just said, look, for 2014, here were basically the top 5 things of 2014 for me. I came out with a TV show, second season of a TV show, Catch a Contractor. I do not believe she's ever seen an episode of Catch a Contractor. Do you?
It doesn't come up on the show proactively that much.
Have you ever heard her say anything about it?
We've not had discussions about Catch a Contractor.
When you and I were discussing it, has she ever joined in and said, oh, I remember that was a good part or good episode or good anything?
Not that I can specifically remember.
Right. Because what I'm saying is when I get in the car Monday morning or Wednesday morning or whatever the next morning is after America's Got Talent, Howard and Robin talk about last night's episode for the first half hour of the show. I realized we could not do the same because she had no interest in my show.
Well, that's a network show, and this is cable, so maybe it's a subscription issue.
I'm sure.
Probably not. It's probably not it.
Do you have any reason to believe that she's ever seen an episode of Catch a Contractor? Or if you do believe that, has it ever been discussed in a positive way or any way on this show?
Not other than the actual getting to, you know what I mean? The traffic and the getting to and the scheduling. And
right, but the actual episodes.
Not that I can specifically recall.
You and I have had discussions about I changed my mind, bitch, or motherfucker, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But Alison was not included in those discussions because she did not watch the show.
Not that I can specifically recall.
Okay, so what you're doing is you're creating a thing where I have to lean to my left and talk to Brian because the person
Which is pretty bad.
To my right does not read the book, does not watch the show. Now, everyone can go, well, fuck you, Adam. Your show sucks, or she's not into your show, or she's not in your book. Understood. Many people aren't into the show, and many people aren't into the book. But understand, I can't do a show with someone who's not into what I'm doing because it stymies the show. Thus, the reason we parted ways. The other...
What else is on this top 5 list?
Oh, boy. There was your book.
That's
there
top
was
5
my
in your
book. Nah, put you at like 1.5.
Damn it.
The patent troll.
That happened.
That was a big deal.
Yes.
We fought the patent trolls. And we said, all podcasters, we need to circle the wagons. And we need to get Marin on board, and we need to get Rogen on board. And everyone under the Carolla digital family will put their Amazon earnings in to a pot so that we can fight off the patent trolls.
Okay. I didn't know about that. I mean, I assumed as part of the network, but I didn't know
the bill was about $650,000. When Alison was told of this, she said, absolutely not. I'm not going in on that. And then I said, all right, don't worry about it. We'll just go on the air and move past it. And she stopped and said, no, not going in on that. And I said, I heard you. It's fine. Come on the air. Now, it was very uncomfortable, if you could imagine the position I was in, to sit here and have you say, boy, it's great to see Rogen and Marin and everyone jumping in and fighting the patent trolls. But the person to my right, the person that was on my network, the person that was having a profitable podcast said, absolutely not. And could you imagine if Rogen or Marin found out?
About Alison saying no dice?
Yes, where we asked you guys to come in, but the person on my network said no.
Gary, were there discussions about that?
Yeah, you may not be remembering this, but that discussion that Adam's referencing happened in studio before the mics heated up, so you were there for that.
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Right? It was in the hallway.
Oh, was it? Okay, my mistake. I thought it bled a little bit into the studio because you were kind of trying to end the conversation with her, and you were just saying, okay, well, let's start the show, and it kind of bled into the studio. I
said, don't worry. Like, she was panicked about it, and I said,
she was very upset.
And I said, your money will not be taken out of your pocket. The following day, we got an email from her with a possible solution, which was she was going to auction off one of her T-shirts and give the proceeds toward the $650,000 attorney's bill. I don't think we answered that. But again, when you're talking about the scale, everybody, what would that mean to you if you had a network, Brian? What would it mean to you if the person said, I don't want your brand on my logo, and Marin and those guys can kick in, but I shall not?
Yeah, I don't know what I can't